Hey everybody! Welcome to the Hold My
Oh,
Pen Promptcast. How's everybody doing tonight?
For a second there, why
okay.
did you
Quick question.
look in pain?
Who?
Hey, Izzy, talk.
Hello.
I can't hear you or see you on my camera.
Ah, you got to drop and come
Yeah,
back.
can you hear and see me?
Because,
Because I can see and hear Izzy just fine.
I can see her on my computer, but would it be an episode of Hold My Pen if there weren't issues?
No, it would not.
Um, I try dropping and coming back and seeing if that helps.
Okay.
One moment, while we.
There she is.
Ha
Okay, Izzy, talk.
Oh
ha!
my God, you're loud.
I don't know what to tell you.
My earballs.
I can't with
Bringing
all
back
this.
an oldie but a goodie. What?
Right.
Welcome to the Hold My Pen
Earball.
Promcast, where chaos reigns supreme.
Yes.
And
All right, so
I
tonight we have
am.
got 10 submissions. So we're going to do them all tonight. Julie, take us away with introductions while I step out onto the porch real quick.
Okay. Right. There you go. I am your host, Julie DeFisher, author of Destin for More, Four Queens, Four Kings series, the Dustin Chronicles, and many fucking more. Um, to the right under Izzy, we have our budding author. Uh, eventually, keep our fingers crossed. It'll be this year. Cash Butler. Cash Wave. Thank you.
Hi.
Izzy Cross just stepped out to put nicotine in her oxygen system. So we're going to start off with a few announcements just to get them kind of out of the way. Please, first, share this out to all your social. Let's pack this house tonight. We had a really great night last night. Cannot thank DJ and M Trust enough for being on the Book for Friday segment. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was in or words are hard today, people. Words are hard. Um, it was interactive. It just the best. I cannot say the anything more than that. If you would like to, over on Twitch and on YouTube, you have the uh replays of that particular show. Right now, as of us going live, we were number 50 in our category for replays. So let's keep that rolling up. Uh,
Yeah.
Also, the major news of the week, we broke as a collective 1 million fucking words on Track Bear. It was amazing when Bitzer got to put that in chat. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Kesh or Izzy that pushed us over the top.
It
It
was
was Kesh.
me.
Like, I knew it was one of the two of you, but so we have that. Um, what else we got going on? Next week we have Rich Filterberg and our very own CM Weller in the hot seat for Book for Friday. So tune in. That's amazing. Yes, thank you, Bitzer, for putting that all the way in there. Where we're currently standing as of this moment. Uh, yes, we're not even halfway through the year, and Izzy's already moved that goalpost to 3 mil just because she knew if she did two that we would hit it faster. So 3 mil with this group, yeah, we'll probably still hit it, without a doubt. Uh, what else
We
do
got
we have
this.
going on? Uh, watch out for the newsletters. Stay to the end so we can vote on the prompt. And if I vibe with the prompt, I may join you next week. Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. All newbies are welcome. Actually, everybody's welcome. The only thing we ask is, keep it or keep it at or around 200 or 2,500 words because of a certain somebody which will not be named. We have that
Me.
word cap now.
Me.
Uh yeah, yeah.
It was me.
So,
We
yeah,
know it was.
try to
Yes,
be
we do
nice.
ask try to keep it under the 2,500 words. A lot of people have been doing right up until that 2,500 word count. We are getting a reaction for the comments, a redeemable reaction out of story error, where you get us so invested and we're like, where's the rest? Where's the rest? I don't care that it was 2,500 words. So there we go. That's that. Please, when you're emailing it in to the Hold My Pen Promcast, please update the subject line to include your chosen pen name for the story and your word count. That way we don't have to open it up and Izzy accidentally see what your story actually is because I can't help myself. Okay, just protect me from me, please. Sometimes Julie's right up to the wire, with a special needs child, sometimes there's not always time during the week to write, so she's right up to the wire, and I jump in behind her. One thing that we do with this collaboration, this collective, this co-op kinda thing is that we pick up where other people may be missing that day, and it's no big deal the way this community has jumped in behind me to help me out, and I turn around and do the favor. So, just if you could put that in there so I don't have to open up the email and risk spoiling your surprise. All right?
Also, also, stay to the end, and you yourselves, the audience, the collective, get to vote on the prompt. Even if you're not writing for the week, we still ask you to vote. Why? Because you can screw us in the end. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, and no further ado, I've already covered us hitting the million words. Who's going to be in the hot seat next week? Did we have anything else, people?
I don't think so.
I don't believe we did. I covered who's going to be in the hot seat. The big thing uh of who is going to be the big thing of we hit the million words
Oh,
on track fair. What?
tonight tonight we are also at the end, before we start rolling for prompts, we're going to announce June. You should also see in the Discord, if you're a member of the Discord. If you're not, do it. Do it. Um, so that being said, sorry, got distracted because "Do It" is a Stray Kids song. Um, sorry, this is not news. Um, get into the Discord. There is a section called monthly challenges, and each month has its own dedicated forum post where we put additional details, information. You can ask questions about the challenge. We're working on making resources for each of that month. So we'll be announcing June's.
Yes.
There we go.
But this is the last prompt for May and the Make It Matter series.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. I have an entire book, Corian, of passwords that is encrypted to my own code so that I can, as long as I always remember the code. That's the key. That's the key point. So as you can see, we've got the little spinny wheel there, and all 10 of our authors that have submitted are on the wheel, so it's completely randomized, all right? And, um, as you can see, there is number 19 on there, but it is written differently because it just was way too distracting to have a very giant #19 on there, just right in our faces. So,
I
it
thought it
got
was
written
cool.
on there just a little bit differently. And something else was on the tip of my tongue, and I forget. Um, oh, well, it must not have been important, or I'll remember it later.
We'll remember it later. What was the prompt that we were supposed to be writing for this week?
Okay, this week, the prompts that were rolled were concept, a group of strangers is brought together by a shared vision. Number 2 line, a line to use was when the glass shattered, every conversation in the hall went silent. And the dialogue, which is by and large our most popularly voted and was once again voted this past week. I promise I didn't touch it. Well, not that much. So here we go. Spinny, spin, spin, spin. Isu. I was like, please don't keep rolling. Please don't keep rolling. Please don't keep rolling. I'm not ready for that yet. All right. Isu, aka Hellenic Taoist. Peter swung his hoofed legs up onto the desk, leaned back in his chair, and began twirling his goatee around his finger. It had been a smart move to grow this out, he decided, while surveying the 6 tense incubi arranged in front of him. It gave him something to do with his hands that looked calming rather than impatient. That was useful in times like these, when the air was so full of tension you could fly a kite just by dropping it. All right, he began with a businesslike sigh. Let's have it. Which one of you got the boy pregnant? Nobody answered or even looked at him, especially not Chorus, easily identifiable as the one human in the room by his lack of horns, whose ears glowed an adorable red. Come on, boys. Womb tattoos don't appear on their own. Just tell me who it was, we'll dispel it, and we can all move on with our lives.
I want to find his fucking pardon, but I can't breathe. Hold.
That was something Izzy had to say. Was it a double mic mute? I think so.
Yeah, that is definitely a recorded. Yep, yep, yep. I think that is a record of start to mic mute or start to Izzy can't breathe.
We're starting off strong. That line, womb tattoos. Okay. Volzek took a breath as though he might speak, but he was just calming himself. Understandable. As Pod Senior, any crime committed by his charges would reflect poorly on him. Peter gave another look along the lineup. Temper, 27, his navy hair in a man bun, kept making tiny shifting motions that would have been invisible if his bulging muscles weren't so stark beneath his striped office shirt. Tao Tao, 99, his black hair tied in a lank ponytail, kept side eyeing the human with his autumnal red eyes, as though wondering, how on earth does a boy not remember getting a womb tattoo? Drain, 35, was sweating bullets. Peter had to remind himself that despite looking like jailbait, apparently the result of some trauma he'd undergone as a larva, Drain was older than Chorus by 12 years. Not some kid squirming in his chair after being summoned to the principal's office. He could easily be the culprit. Then again, Ellister, 39, the one with spiky azure hair, was Drain's brother, and the two of them were rarely apart. If Drain had gotten Corey pregnant, Elle would know, and he looked the calmest. Well, second calmest of the bunch. He just kept running his hand through Drain's feathery blonde locks, just trying to soothe his little brother. Volzek, with his silver hair cornrowed on one side and the rest pulled into a ponytail, was over 400, and it showed in his pale green eyes. He looked like he just wanted the whole affair finished so he could take a nap. Lastly was Jason, 19, the space cadet, and the only incubus younger than Chorus. With his lank brown hair and generous curves, he was already the odd man out. So far, he'd spent the whole meeting staring at the swirling lights reflecting off the ceiling from Peter's Serenity Fountain. Given that Jason was half siren, Peter guessed that the sight was making him homesick. No volunteers, huh? Peter gave his goatee another twirl, then addressed Chorus bracingly. Say, Corey, how would you feel about skipping the incident report, provided we can get this resolved today? Chorus flinched at hearing his name, but looked up from his knees hopefully. I am so fucking in favor of that. He covered his mouth. Sorry. Peter turned his smile on the others. There you go. No consequences, no reason not to come forward. How about it? He waited. There were a few traded glances, but otherwise no change in atmosphere. Peter sighed and brought his feet down from the desk. Okay, guess we gotta Benoit Blanc this shit. He pulled his keyboard closer. All right, since nobody's feeling guilty, there should be no problem with me checking the Incus logs. There weren't, apparently. Okay, let's see. Chorus, in the 6 weeks you've been part of the catering program, you've fed, he whistled, 5 out of 6. Not bad. He threw a rakish grin at Jason. Why haven't you had a go with him, merman? Lost your voice? There was a pause as Jason refocused on Peter, ran the last few seconds of conversation through his head, then looked at Chorus. No, we've slept together. There was an awkward pause before Volzek said gently, Jason, you're supposed to log your feeding times. I know. He shuffled his feet. It's just, he kind of walked in on me while I was waiting for someone else. Only, I think I was late to the first appointment, so Riley got tired of waiting and left, and Corey came in instead. I wasn't sure if that counted. Volzek sighed through his nose. Jason, first off, you're not supposed to mention the names of our caterers in front of other caterers. Uh, yeah, I remember. Jason shuffled his feet. Sorry. Also, you're still under 25. You're supposed to report to me whenever you sleep with someone outside of schedule. Right. Jason at least had the good grace to duck his head sheepishly. Sorry. I'll remember next time. Also, Tao Tao put in, rolling his eyes, maybe try verifying the name of your caterer before you start, so this sort of thing doesn't happen in the first place. Jason looked like he wanted to fold in on himself. Okay, I will. Sorry. He looked across the room at the human. Sorry, Corey. It's fine, Chorus said quickly, smiling as reassuringly as he could. I mean, you noticed pretty quickly, and I did ask you to continue, so no harm done. Jason gave a shy smile. Peter felt his eye twitch involuntarily. Sweet Aphrodite, they deserve each other. Okay, moving on. Corey, have you had any sexual relations outside of work? Chorus pressed his lips into a flat line. I wasn't aware there was a rule against that. Peter closed his eyes, the better to keep from rolling them. Tell me you're a grad student without telling me you're a grad student. There isn't. We're just collecting data at this point. Oh, Chorus blushed slightly. No, I haven't been with anyone outside of work. Petra, Petra finally allowed a little of his impatience to slip out. Corey, how can you, a professional whore who slept with 6 men in as many weeks, still be this shy? Chorus turned radish red. Behind him, Atreus gave a wide, sharp teethed grin. That's because our Corey is still a good little altar boy at heart. Petra frowned. You're Catholic? As the human clarified, making a vacillating gesture with one hand. Temper smirked wickedly. Figures. Drain always manages to attract the P3dos. Everyone spoke at once. Fuck you! Chorus shrieked. Fuck off! Bellowed Drain. That is not okay! Ellister snarled. Temper, groaned Petra. Now is not the time, snapped Volzek. Really, man? Sighed Atreus. Not cool, bro, said Jason placidly, a beat behind everyone else. Temper cringed and tucked his tail between his legs. To his credit, he didn't fight back as the others dogpiled. Once the voices had quieted, he met Drain's eye and mumbled, I'm sorry. That was out of line. Yeah, it was, Drain simmered. You owe me a good bottle of wine after that. Temper nodded sheepishly before turning to Chorus. And I'm really, really sorry to you too, Chorus. I swear, I wasn't thinking of you when I said it. Chorus took a slow breath before replying. It's fine, Temper. I know it wasn't personal. You're just a stupid himbo who doesn't think before he speaks. The remark was so apt and so unexpected from shy, gentle Corey that the other incubi not only laughed, but applauded out of schadenfreude. Drain flashed him a heart with his hands, while Temper blushed and took his lumps with grace. Petra smiled and let the boys get it out of their systems before continuing. All right, I'm thinking this problem started outside the company. We'll still have to file a report, but at this point, it's a formality more than. Actually, Mr. Regis, now that the tension was broken, Chorus seemed to have found his spine again, and he was leaning back comfortably to address Pietra. Since we're all so very interested in my sex life, perhaps you'd like to talk about your contribution. Pietro Regis felt the heat of 14 eyes riveted on him. He opened his mouth, floundered for a second, then scoffed and tried to brush it off as a joke. Oh, come on, Corey. Dreams don't count. Dreams? Jason looked at the others for a clue. Chorus hitched his elbow over the back of his chair. Now, surely I'm not the only one who knew that Regis is half satyr, half Belphegorian demon. Pietro fancied he could hear the gears turning in the assembly's heads. Volzek got there first. You dreamwalked into a subordinate's head and had sex with him? Drain looked appalled. Pietra, you're HR! Say what? Cores made a sound halfway between a gasp and a laugh. I thought he was just the hiring manager. Tao Tao smirked. Nah, He just filled in for Lisa while she's on maternity leave, like you're about to be. I can't believe our HR manager would take advantage of an employee like that. Temper smarmed, obviously delighted by the scandal. I was just there to deliver a message, Pietro snapped, loosening his tie unconsciously. It's not my fault the boy was having a sex dream when I walked in. You sure got into character pretty quick, Chorus observed, smiling tranquilly. Pietra had nothing to say to that. Volzek tapped a cheekbone thoughtfully. In the interest of... A knock at the door cut him off. Yes, Petra called before anyone else could answer. Brena stepped in. Hey, I was... She gaped at the crowd. What are you all still doing here? Same we were doing 15 minutes ago, Tao Tao snarked. Trying to find out who Corey's baby daddy is. He blew a kiss at the middle finger Chorus gave him. Brianna goggled at them. Jesus, how long does it take to run a simple energy trace? There was a pause. Uh, said Petra. Brianna widened her eyes pointedly. You know, to find out whose aura signature matches the traces on the tattoo? Because the fingerprints remain visible for almost a year? Ah, yeah, muttered Chorus, who had learned the energy trace spell in his sophomore year. Brianna rolled her eyes and about faced. I swear to God, 8 men in a room and not 2 brain cells to rub together. She shut the door sharply. It was the obvious solution and a good suggestion on Brianna's part. No less so for the fact that after 20 minutes, every man in the room had run the trace spell twice and were still without an answer. It's none of us? Alestra sounded stricken. I thought we already knew that. Everyone looked at Jason. He blinked vaguely at everyone. I mean, if it were one of us, we'd have come forward, right? He looked around. I thought this was just to cross our T's. Tao Tao leaned on the back of Chorus's chair. So who else you been sleeping with? Jesus Christ, can you just stop? Chorus sprang out of the chair and rounded on Tao Tao. It's been just you guys, okay? No one else. Not since I was in college. It's okay. Volzek gently took Chorus's shoulder and nudged the boy with one of his horns. We're not criticizing you. We're just trying to... He threw a glance at Jason. Cross our T's. What about you, Petra? Temper began, and his eyes glittered. You invite any friends along when you were screwing with Corey's noggin? Pietra put down an urge to punch the toxic gym rat, then decided to play it straight. No, I wouldn't do something like that without getting his permission in advance. Temper's smirk crept wider. And yet, you didn't think to ask before. Actually, yeah, I'm still trying to picture it. Drain interrupted and bent over in front of Temper, which was as good a way as any to get the Navy incubus to back away. How on earth did you manage to just bespokely meander into sex with a coworker? That sounds fascinating. Pietro rubbed at his forehead, no doubt wondering when he could get himself a drink and a couple Tylenol. Look, the dream was set in a bathhouse. I entered through a door in the cloakroom where the ferry on attendants was putting business cards in everyone's. The look he gave the open air as he trailed off was so serious, nobody, not even Temper, dared to interrupt. Abruptly, Pietro looked at Chorus. Check your pockets for me. Chorus blinked. What? Pietro's tone was steady but urgent. I saw that green cloak you're always wearing in the cloakroom. Check your pockets. The human's brow furrowed. But that cloak isn't real. It's just a shape my familiar takes when I... Check your pockets, Pietro advised. Course took a second to digest, then reached into his pants pocket. Immediately, his eyes widened while the space between his brows narrowed. He pulled out a battered green business card and read it. Oh, crap. What is it? Drain peered over Chorus's shoulder. The warlock met Pietro's worried eyes. It's from a fairy. The room went cold. How long have you been holding it? Alestra was the first to ask. Chorus fingered the frayed edges. About a week before I started working here? You've been holding on to it all this time? Pietro didn't bother to hide his dismay. Horace ducked his head. I couldn't remember the disposal protocol. I'd meant to look it up, but then my friend told me about this job and I just got caught up with other things. So it's been at least a full lunar month. Volzek cupped his nose and mouth in his hands and breathed slowly. And have you contacted the one who gave you that card? The human chewed his lip. I don't remember anyone, I don't remember calling anyone, and this card looks like it's been through the washer, so probably not. I don't get it though, Jason chimed in, looking around at everyone's worried faces. I mean, I know fairies are tricky to deal with, but Corey can't be pregnant from one. Fairies can't create womb marks, right? No. Pietro rested his forehead in his interlaced fingers, but they can transfer them. Dun dun dun.
I beg your finest fucking pardon.
They a fairy or a pixie?
Transfer? According to them, a fairy. Um, I don't know if there is a difference in this world of a fairy or a pixie. Either which way. What? We got a 404 on our hands.
We are out of story.
I,
Talk about fucking starting off strong and yeah, oh no, don't fuck with the fae. Yeah, we don't fuck with the fae.
Nope. Don't fuck with the fae.
oh my.
Otherwise, well done. Well done. Talk about you were worried about landing on 19 first and the yeah.
No, I was worried about landing on my own first. Okay.
Oh, I thought 19 was on the other side of that. The screen's very small. I have to watch to
Ooh.
keep up with everything on my phone because it's bogging my computer down if I have it up in two spots. So it's like,
Different kind of fairy sticks.
For everyone having problems with the stream, make sure that you have your quality
Yes, that is a big point.
up auto.
yeah, mine's off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take it
I
off
almost
auto and it.
always have
Sorry.
to switch it when I'm looking at it. Yeah, right now, me watching over here, Julie just went, "Oh, I beg your finest pardon." And YouTube is even lagged behind that.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's fine. We will go on as usual.
It's fine. It's fine. Oh my Jesus. I have just about freaking
That
when
was
I
a
think our audience can't surprise me anymore.
Bam! Here we go again.
yes, Steph. Thank you.
I did realize I forgot my pretzels in the freezer. I'll be right
Oh,
back.
the video download was canceled. Please try again. Oh, it's probably something to do with.
Oh my Lanta.
I am kind of really distracted by everyone's comments right now, trying to read with
Oh
everyone's
my
comments.
god. I mean, I'm I am so here for it. I am so interested to see what happens next, if they continue in the story or not. Um, I am very happy to have this person as a part of our crew. Hi, Maggie. And I have my pretzels now, so we're good.
Did you get into a fight with one of the bigger kitties and you had to run to mom? Hmm?
Probably.
Hi, you're okay. You want to say hi to the adoring public? No, let me look away. Yeah, the bed's no safer because Big Bro and Big Sis are just as mean. Okay,
Okay, that's a strong start to the night. Let's see what's next.
who's next? Dream Death.
What's going on?
They're
Not
continuing
my problem here.
to get disconnected. Now, the crazy thing is, okay,
You want me to tell the chat? Oh, there it goes.
okay.
Everyone's saying they can see and hear. Oh, you can read that though. Sorry. Yeah, YouTube is doing okay.
There we go. Okay. He winced as they screamed. They fussed as she tried to help one out of the crowded back seat. It was heaping with a bunch of crap tricking from the trunk. Huey slogged through the wisps of fog, now coffeeless and full of bitterness. He tapped something made of aluminum with the tip of his sneaker, stopped, and tapped it. It made that hollow clinking sound Huey was all too familiar with. In one swift motion, he scooped it up with his foot, served the aluminum can, and kicked it into the dense miasma. Ow! Huey apologized immediately. No foul. Hey, can you lend a hand? Curiosity got the better half of Huey, and he approached the bystander. Just a plain looking man looking under the hood of his minivan. It's always a man with a van. It's always a man with a van. No, no, no. Huey recognized the make and model. Memories bogged him. A flash of a stumbling woman, a malodorous stench of skunk, the screech of sirens. Old instances he would like to forget rather than the ones he had already forgotten, according to Nicholas. Huey forced up a smile that was too friendly. Huey shook his head, trying to wave off the intrusion. Huey asked, "Having trouble there, pal?" "You could say that. Any good with an engine?" His grin fell more naturally and spread past his cheekbones. "If you got the tools, I got the time." Despite hating the weight that car represented, Huey fell into his element. The gentleman gave him a bogus name, but it kept changing. "Actually, it's Fred," to "No, it's Yusuf." Huey decided, for sake of confusion, to list the guy as Mr. Nobody. To himself, of course. He was able to keep up with the next nonsense name that came out of his thin mouth. Then he saw the pattern. It was a game. Every name always had to do with the last letter. So as Huey worked the ragged engine, he would try to guess Mr. Nobody's next name. The only other interesting feat was his Minnesota accent. Or was it Canadian? Mr. Nobody was consistent, though. He lived nearby, single, and work was rough. Huey asked, "Isn't it the truth, pal?" "You bet." "What do you work in, Duke?" He corrected Huey. "Actually, it's Damon. I guess you could say I work in a type of management. I deal with numbers, don't you know?" "Ah, Damon, my mistake." Huey nodded, but he couldn't see Mr. Nobody in the driver's seat. "Numbers, huh? Wouldn't that be accounting?" "Nah, nothing boring like that. I have to make sure everything goes into the right place, eh? Just like you." "Me?" Mr. Nobody cleared his throat. "I can tell. You're a mechanic. You make sure things go in the right place, yeah?" "I guess you make a pretty good point." "Naturally. There's something satisfying when everything runs smoothly." Huey chuckled. "I can't argue that." Mr. Nobody said, "Of course. There's synergy and energy about it." "You're right about that, pal." For a moment, Mr. Nobody fell quiet. Only the sound of Huey's tinkering filled the air. Mr. Nobody said, "I'm surprised you can keep up, kid. By now, people would give up or think I'm off my rocker." Huey guessed he just really needed to work on a car. His mood shifted from hellish to presentable. Good. Eve didn't need to worry about him when she had her injury to nurse. The mechanic shrugged. "Guess I have more patience." "Nah, I'd say it's your curiosity. You've always been a curious soul, Huey." Huey blinked. "Have we—" The car stumbled to life, purring under Huey's hands. A loud crash rung the air. When the glass broke, all chatter went silent. Huey jerked his attention. Glass spilled on the floor by the woman and the two kids' car. In full blast, the radio crackled on. "Two suspects are in pursuit. Male in his 20s, red hair, sporting a mascot of a chicken. Female in her 20s, brown hair, wearing designer polka dotted pajamas and slip on boots." Huey's jaw hinged. What in the ever loving living hell were Theo and Paige doing? With a chicken suit? I, "Hey, friend, could you close the hood? I've got an important meeting." The effects of information whiplash had Huey gobsmacked. He went through the motions of folding the hood stand and slapped the slab of metal firmly, locking it up. He placed his hand on the metal, impossibly warm in such a short amount of time. "Thanks a mill, Huey." "Do we know—" Mr. Nobody didn't wait for Huey to back up. Either he didn't care or trusted in his own driving to back up smoothly. The strange man gave him a short wave and zoomed out of there. Huey stood there for a few good minutes before checking his phone again. Somehow it was at the right charge when it was previously dead in the tunnel underground. Maybe that creepy place did something to electronics? Was Huey supposed to remember Mr. Nobody? Why the crap was everyone so secretive in this old as dust city? Still no new messages. No texts. Nothing. Huey hissed. What are you two doing? Hopefully Eve had better news. Dun dun dun.
A fucking chicken suit? Really? Couldn't make him a dinosaur. Like a chicken suit's gonna be any less conspicuous. Bok bok, motherfucker. Brak, brak, brak.
I, something had to have been up with that fucking man with the van. That just
Mhm. That's what I'm wondering, like, what's going on with the van? Who's this guy in the van?
Okay, first of
like all the
we
different
we
names that
all
he was
know
going by.
if there's a dude with a van, stay the fuck away from it. Right. Yes, but they don't go rawr.
Well, they're saying now that dinosaurs probably didn't either, because they found some vocalized some fossilized vocal cords from dinosaurs, and they think they probably chirped a little bit, but most of their sounds were probably, like, subsonic, like, you'd feel it, but you wouldn't hear it.
That's not very nice.
But only you know, Izzy, I can't. Oh,
The next victim, me. Rainwater still dripped from the eaves outside the cabin, slow and steady after the night's relentless storm. The world beyond the windows looked washed raw. Mud streaked the yard. Pine needles clung to the porch steps in damp clumps, and somewhere, deeper in the trees, a branch creaked under its own weight. Maggie stood at the sink with her phone tucked between her shoulder and ear, watching gray clouds drag low across the mountains. Please tell me the town's still standing. A soft chuckle cracked through the speaker. Mostly. Something heavy thudded in the background on Sven's end, followed by distant voices. She frowned. That doesn't sound like your ranch. Where are you? The park. Which one? Y'all have several around here. She dried the last dish and put it away. Fair, he chuckled. Listen to you, sounding like a local already. Sven took a deep breath. The parks in town were spared most of it, being surrounded by buildings, but the storm tore through headwaters pretty bad. Couple trees came down. The gazebo took a direct hit. Another muffled voice called his name. Hang on. She heard the noise fade into the background as he covered the mic before coming back. Sorry, everybody's kind of everywhere right now. Maggie leaned against the counter. So you're helping clean up? Looks that way. She smiled despite herself. Of course he was helping. How bad is it? The river jumped the bank near the walking trail. Playground's a mess. Through the window, she watched Aiden and Emmy crouched near the porch in mismatched rain boots, poking at something in the mud with sticks, while Evan supervised from the porch, his Montana textbook protected from the dripping trees. They'll be disappointed, she murmured. The kids? They love that park. Rebecca took them so I could shop and run errands after work a couple of times. Another thoughtful pause settled between them until Sven broke it gently. Well, if you want to help, folks are bringing coffee, tools, garbage bags, whatever they've got. Maggie hesitated. A moment passed before his voice broke it softly. No pressure. Just good people trying to fix what's broken. Sven paused briefly. Nothing nobody can't fix. There it was again. That simple, dangerous warmth in his voice, making her chest tighten before she could stop it. Sven never made her feel like she owed him for his kindness, never pushed past the line she drew around herself and the kids. He just stayed. Patient and kind, he left her an open door. Every time. Outside, Emmy suddenly shrieked with laughter while Aiden protested something unintelligible. Maggie closed her eyes briefly at the noise. Cleanup could put Emmy's energy to good use. We'll be there in 30. Anything missing we can bring? By the time they left the cabin, the clouds had begun to thin into long gray streaks across the distant mountains, though the world still looked battered beneath them. The drive northeast toward headwaters revealed just how hard the storm had swept through Gallatin County. Fields lay flattened in uneven patches where wind had torn across the open land. Broken branches littered fence lines. More than once, Maggie slowed around fresh debris dragged onto the road shoulder by runoff and mud. In the distance, Three Forks sat under a haze of lingering moisture and pale sunlight, the town looking strangely subdued from across the fields. Power crews worked near one of the intersections leading toward downtown, orange vests bright against the soaked landscape. A pair of ranchers farther up the road wrestled a fallen cottonwood off a fence with chains and a tractor. She was learning that Montana didn't stop for much. From the back seat, Emmy pressed both hands to the window. That tree got ripped in half. Aiden leaned across beside her. Whoa. Evan barely looked up from his textbook balanced against his knees. Lightning can explode the moisture inside the trunk. That's horrible, Emmy screeched. That must hurt. Evan shrugged. It's science. Maggie snorted softly despite herself. Ahead, the turnoff for Headwaters State Park came into view, and even from the road, she could already see movement near the parking area. Trucks, volunteers, people hauling debris toward growing piles near the edge of the field. The gazebo roof was gone. Looks a lot different than just a few weeks ago, Aiden frowned. Oh, I don't know. It's still a community coming together, don't you think? Maggie glanced at him through the rear view. He appeared thoughtful for a moment, cocking his head to the side. I suppose you're right, Mom. Mud sucked at Maggie's boots the moment she stepped out of the SUV. Voices carried across the soaked field from every direction. Truck doors slammed. Chainsaws buzzed somewhere deeper among the trees near the river. The sharp scent of fresh cut pine mixed with wet earth and river water. The devastation was everywhere. But so were smiles and laughter as neighbors worked together to set things right. Near the shattered remains of the gazebo, a group had already started sorting usable lumber from splintered boards, while others hauled debris toward waiting trailers. Someone shouted for measurements over the whine of a circular saw. Maggie followed the sound, weaving through the scattered groups toward the gazebo. Sven stood near a pair of sawhorses cutting fresh boards to size. Safety glasses shielding his eyes and a pencil tucked behind one ear beneath the brim of his hat. His sleeves were rolled up on his forearms in the July heat, sweat darkening the faded plaid across his shoulders as he worked. Even from across the field, Maggie found herself tracking the rhythm of it, the lift of the board, the set of his stance, the way his hands measured twice without hesitation before the blade ever came down. No wasted motion, nothing uncertain, just steady, practiced repetition, measured, controlled, unbroken. He leaned in to mark a line, forearm flexing as he pressed the pencil down, then shifted the wood with an easy adjustment of his sure grip, close enough now that she could see the fine grit of sawdust clinging to his skin, the damp line at his collar where the heat had already done its work. Someone passed him another board. He caught it one-handed without looking, and the corner of his mouth ticked up at their comment. Sven answered without fully turning, then set the next cut and kept going like the moment hadn't cost him anything at all. His words and the burst of laughter disappeared beneath the rush of blood pumping steadily through her ears. He turned to hand the board back, then abruptly looked over his shoulder, face lighting up as he said something she still couldn't hear. "Mommy?" Emmy's voice broke through the fog, pulling her back. "Hmm? Oh, what?" Sven laughed, a deep, unguarded sound that cut through the static around them. Something in her reacted immediately. It started small, barely anything, then moved through her in a way that made her skin tighten along her arms, then her shoulders, like her body had shifted a fraction out of sync with itself. She tried to speak, but it came out wrong. Her breath snagged and she coughed, sharp and sudden. Before she could recover, Sven was there, closer than she expected, already twisting the cap off a canteen and pressing it into her hand. Maggie took it on instinct, fingers unsteady around the plastic. He didn't move away, one hand under hers, the other cupping her elbow. She could feel his attention focus solely on her. "You're fine," he said, his voice low, but his breath brushing the wisps of hair at her ear. She shook her head once, trying to clear it, then lifted the canteen. The first swallow went down too fast, catching slightly before it settled. The second was slower. The coolness grounded her in stages. Throat, breath, everything else catching up afterward. She lowered the water carefully, the roughness of his skin beneath her fingertips suddenly all she could feel. She let go quickly, blinking hard as the world came back into focus. "I'm fine," she said, voice still shaky. One of Sven's eyebrows lifted, the question unspoken. Maggie swallowed. "I'm fine," she said again, steadier this time. Sven held her gaze. Longer than necessary. She looked away first. He nodded, like he wasn't satisfied, but he'd take it. "Yeah." Behind them, his name was called. He answered without turning. "I'm coming." He still didn't move. Aiden moved between the twins to her other side, steadying her too. He looked up at Sven. "She'll be fine. Promise." Maggie felt him step away then and peeked up at him. His face split into a wide grin as his attention shifted to her son. "Good man." He turned to the younger children. "I see you all brought more trash bags. Let's see if we can't fill them. What do you say?" They whooped in glee and followed the rancher as he strode away, a single look back catching her gaze. Aiden stayed beside her a moment longer, watching with her as Sven disappeared into the crowd with the twins trailing after him. "You sure you're okay?" he asked quietly. Maggie looked down at him. There it was again, that careful look he got sometimes. Too old for 12. She squeezed his shoulder. "I'm fine," she said gently. Aiden hesitated. You got kind of pale. Despite everything still twisting unevenly inside her, Maggie smiled faintly and nudged him with an elbow. Pretty sure choking on my own spit isn't fatal. His mouth twitched, but he still didn't look convinced. Go help your brother and sister before Sven recruits them into any demolition. Aiden snorted. Emmy would love that. She startled just a bit. Emery would definitely love that. He caught her emphasis and nodded. Right, Emery. Sorry, Mom. We'll get there, kiddo. She watched him go, then turned awkwardly, wondering what to do, where to help. Around her, the entire park seemed to move with practiced purpose, people slipping easily into tasks without needing direction, hauling branches, sorting lumber, dragging soaked trash bags toward waiting trailers. Even the conversations carried a kind of rhythm to them, overlapping naturally with the work. Nobody stood still long enough to make a production out of helping. Nobody seemed worried about who was in charge. They just saw something broken and started fixing it. Maggie lingered where she was, hands loose at her sides, feeling strangely disconnected from the easy rhythm around her. Careful standing still around here. The voice came warm and amused from beside her. Maggie turned to find a woman about Donna's age, carrying a stack of folded contractor bags against one hip, silver blonde hair escaping a messy braid beneath a battered ball cap. You pause too long, somebody'll hand you a shovel, she warned. Recognition clicked a second later. Maggie huffed out a startled laugh. I'll keep that in mind. Well, you're already late. The woman shifted the bags into Maggie's arms before she could protest. We're trying to clear the playground before the next round of weather rolls through tonight. Maggie blinked down at the bags, then back at the woman. It's Ingrid, right? Ingrid laughed. Well, now, my son was right. You're a smart one. I wouldn't say that. Maggie blushed at the compliment. A breath later, she realized what the woman had said, startled. Your son? Yeah. He brought you and the kids to the rodeo. Sven's my son. She turned toward the playground area. Well, come on then. Don't dawdle. You survived the bonfire crowd. This bunch is easier. Maggie stumbled to keep up. But you were arguing with him about pineapple and brisket. That boy don't have a lick of sense when it comes to food. He has the blandest palate I've ever met. Got it from his late father. Ingrid didn't slow down. Maggie hurried after her through patches of churned mud, catching her foot again on the wide swaths of grass. Ahead, the playground looked worse up close. One of the smaller climbing structures leaned crookedly into the mulch where a branch had crashed through the canopy above it. Twisted pieces of plastic fencing sat half buried in mud near the swings, and the riverbank beyond the walking trail still shimmered with standing water. And yet, somehow, the place was alive. Teenagers hauled broken limbs toward the trailers with exaggerated groans, while an older man laughed at them for milking the weight. Someone had a radio balanced on the tailgate of a truck, old country music crackling beneath the steady noise of chainsaws and hammering. A woman Maggie vaguely recognized from the grocery store moved through the crowd, passing out bottled water like she'd coordinated disasters her whole life. Nobody seemed overwhelmed. They just adapted. Ingrid pointed toward the edge of the playground. We're separating what still can be used from what can't. Saves money if we don't got to replace every little thing. I saw them sorting earlier. A pair of high school boys dragged a splintered bench past them, both grinning about something Maggie couldn't hear. Careful there, Ingrid barked after them. If you drop that on your foot, I ain't driving either one of you to the hospitals. I'll call your mothers instead. One of them flashed a sheepish grin. Yes, ma'am. Maggie blinked. The boys couldn't have been much more than 16. Ingrid just shook her head under her breath and kept moving. These kids just suddenly forget common sense after a storm. Despite herself, Maggie smiled. Nearby, Emmy and Evan were already elbow deep in cleanup, arguing loudly over whether a trash bag counted as full, while Sven watched with poorly concealed amusement from the remains of the gazebo. Aiden stood beside an older teen twice his size, both of them dragging smaller branches toward a growing pile near the trail. Nobody treated the kids like they were in the way. Nobody treated Maggie like she was either. The realization settled somewhere quiet inside her as Ingrid pressed a pair of work gloves into her hands and pointed toward a heap of storm tossed debris. Start there, she said. And if Sven tries lifting anything stupid by himself, yell at him for me. Maggie balked, but from across the field, Sven lifted another section of lumber onto his shoulder like the universe had personally issued him a challenge. Maggie snorted softly. Yeah, Ingrid sighed, shaking her head. That boy ain't got a lick of self preservation sense. The morning slipped by in pieces after that. Somebody eventually pressed a sandwich into her hand without asking if she was hungry first. And at some point, she stopped trying to refuse help, carrying things heavier than she could manage alone. The park slowly began looking habitable again. Dun dun dun.
Madame.
Look, I came right up close to the 2,500. There's 1,100 more words. It'll be posted in the Discord later.
Oh, Bitzer, nobody is arguing that fact at all. Like,
Apparently,
I
Sven
could
did.
apparently, according to Ingram, um, Sven ain't got a lick of sense and a very bland palate. Like the man can live off chicken nuggets and he'd be fine.
Apparently. And that's his own mother talking.
Right. So, I mean, in defense of the mama, no pineapple, pineapple juice, pineapples is a natural, meat tenderizer. But there are people who don't do it correctly and the meat comes out too sweet and they don't pair it with the right sauce. Now that's where I end up with the problem.
Okay, Julie. But does my question when earlier
Now
this
I
week
understand the question like, "Hey, does pineapple go with brisket?" And I'm like, "Well, it all depends on which way you're doing the brisket." In this case, yes, no, absolutely. I approve.
I just wanted to know which side of the conversation Sven would have been on.
So the fact that I picked, yes, it does, you went the direct opposite?
No, 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 because remember the line was that Ingrid was the woman at the bonfire who was arguing with Sven about pineapple and brisket.
Yes.
So, Mama was saying it goes on there, and Sven was saying that it doesn't. Because Mama's got to be right.
Um, yeah, mama's got it right. That's fine.
Mama's got to be
Like,
right.
he's allowed to
All
if
right,
mama would even come up with it, he's allowed to be wrong.
here we go. Next up,
Who is our next bada bing?
you.
What? Fucking hell.
That's so appropriate.
Is it though? Is it?
It's the two of you. That's all I gotta say. Is it's the two of you.
Look, it's so rare that our stories are back to back or close to each other in the lineup.
I know.
So, like, this is perfect because these stories are also interconnected.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Oh, by the way, there's no G on the end of it. All right, here we go. Roscoe stared up at the
That was
underneath
a
of the
fun
bunk. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. Roscoe stared up at the underneath of the bunk above her, mind racing through the events of the day. Nothing was adding up after the conversation with both the Mounties and the tribal law enforcement. All she did know for certain was what her gut was telling her. They were up on Dead Man's Pass. Where had yet to be determined. There were 12 cabins scattered along the ridges, but only 3 that were close enough together to get back to the main road without detection. Unfortunately, that depended on the end game. And from what she had found out from Buck and McMuller, she wasn't the first to come sniffing around. Buck had even told her out of the 11 reservations, 6 of them had missing girls ranging from 16 to 23 years old. All of them had been previously with friends or at a party, and the only thing anyone could remember about the incident was a blond boy built like a linebacker in a faded blue pickup truck. A sickening line resurfaced in the back of Roscoe's head. Res girls go missing all the time. Doesn't mean the local boys know anything about it. They'll resurface in a week or two, but they never did. Not a scrap of clothing, not a strand of hair, or a drop of blood. Nothing to prove the who, what, when, or why. But they all rallied. Didn't matter where the girl disappeared from. War drums could be heard while search parties were formed, flyers printed, and she had been pulled in on her fair share with Nitro and Major. It baffled Roscoe how different tribes banded together under one common goal when she was told growing up what the tribe had done to her mother, all because of her existence. A tear skirted its way down her cheek at the thought of mother. Not right now. Roscoe swiped at the watery betrayal, closing her eyes and rolling to her side, trying to still her mind. Morning would be here before she could blink, and keeping her wits about her out on that trail was going to be the difference between finding Bonnie in one piece or getting her hurt. Roscoe, come on, raccoon. Quite possibly. And it just disconnected again on Twitch side.
mhm. I see that. That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. At least the good news is that YouTube, although buffering does seem to be one full swoop of a thing.
Yeah,
Uh sorry, Bitzer.
like it's
Yeah.
actually kind of working.
Yeah, it is actually kind of working. Hopefully the playback on that video will be fine. Um at least the dropped frames per second have gone down 20%. It
Yeah.
was at 60, now it's somewhere around 40. So, all right. Well, we have been at this now, after introductions and whatnot for about an hour. Um, we have 6 left for the evening. So, we back. We back. Um, what are we looking at here? So weird seeing one of me look that way and one of me look that way at the same time.
Oh, somebody's being loud.
Okay. Um, I'm out of Jack and Coke. So I think this might be a really good opportunity to take a quick break. Shall we see who is our victim when we come back?
Yeah, I say we leave them in suspense.
Leave them in suspense.
Yes. Let's
Okay.
see who's gonna be sweating until we get back here.
Wait. I think I missed what should I spin or shouldn't I? Yay, spin, nay, no.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I no.
Yes. Spin.
Cash is shaking her head. Julie is going, yes, do it. So
They're saying
here we go.
intermission on YouTube. So I think they're catching up maybe?
Well, we have an ad
I
starting
don't know.
in 3 minutes over here too.
Oh, I think we're down again. Oh no, there we are.
It's like spin to win.
There we go. Did a cute little 1 minute poll. Yes, want to see them sweat. No, we can wait. We're a
That's rude.
democracy around here.
I just figured you flip a coin.
Nah, we're a democracy around here. I mean, that's what you keep saying.
We are. And so far it's unanimous.
It
We got
is
10 people
unanimous,
in
yeah.
here and 6 have voted.
Out. 7, 3, 2, 1. Bingo! 8 of you voted. Yes, you want to see them sweat. Alrighty. Oh! Oh! A newbie has to sweat during the
What?
intermission. We
I
are
can't see.
so. It's Korean. Korean.
Oh. One of our new
One of our new for tonight. So we're going to take a quick intermission. Make sure that you refill on your snacks, your drinks. Use the restroom. Hydrate or dihydrate,
yes.
people. All right, and we'll
Right.
also leave it up. We're going to leave it up. And that way, chat, interact, come back early. Oh my God, Bitzer, I'm glad you know them because otherwise that might be a little scary.
I mean, fair and true. Uh so everybody tonight, how's everybody doing? Is everybody enjoying the show?
Okay, I'm back. I needed it.
You just went to go get you
No,
went and
I
got
had
your snack. Here you go.
I had DoorDash. I
Hey,
was
look.
like, I am done being in a vehicle today.
Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. So the mural behind you is very pretty.
Oh, yeah, the pictures or canvases or whatever they are.
Yeah. The
But
Rocky
yeah,
or the, Appalachian mountain landscape.
yeah, I think so.
So what'd you get?
Caramel crunch frosty.
Ooh. Now that sounds really good.
It's a lot bigger
I'm
than
on
I
a
normally
sweet
get,
and
but
I'm on a sweet and salty kick.